Welcome back to the show. I'm Julia Hartley-Brewer. You'll be TalkTV on TV, on radio, online and on your smart speaker. Now, women's rights campaigner Kellie-Jay Keen was accused of standing with Nazis by a member of staff at Waterstones bookstore when she went into the store to buy, well, just a birthday card. Waterstones has said it will investigate the incident with the shop manager and the employee. Meanwhile, the Declaration for Biological Reality launched today with more than 80 pressure groups and public figures, including myself, signing to call for an end to the spread of gender ideology. Well, I'm delighted to say joining me now in the studio is Kellie-Jay Keen, founder of Standing for Women. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
So lovely to have you in the studio. Such a big fan of your work. The best thing
Thanks.
about, can I say, the best thing about having your own TV show to just have more people that you just love and just to get them to you know, I don't know, put their cause to the British people. Let's talk about you being accused of standing with the Nazis. Now, this is an accusation that has come at you before,
yes,
with your amazing standing for women. They're not even protests, they're just women standing up saying, oh, women are women and men aren't women and we'd like that recognised, please. I mean, the most uncontroversial stuff 5 years ago. Now, apparently, it makes you a hateful bigot.
Yes.
Good to know, to keep up with the timings. But you've done all these events, and we've had some events down under where you've had some people, some far-right groups, turning up.
Yes.
Nothing to do with you whatsoever. Some Hitler salutes and the like. You've been nothing to do with you whatsoever. You're absolutely horrified by that, as any right-minded person would be. And now you're trying to buy a birthday card in a bookstore, and some idiot, no-mark Waterstones employee accuses you of standing with Hitler. What happened?
Well, I just went up and I'm relatively friendly, so I said, just this one, please. And he I could tell within seconds that he recognised me. And he looked a little bit trembly, impotent rage. And he said, oh...
I mean, probably is impotent rage.
Well, I think so. And he said, can I ask your name? And I said, yeah, it's Kellie-Jay. And I thought, oh, here we go. And he just then scowled at me like a 14-year-old who'd just been told that they couldn't have any pudding. And he was just so cross. And I said, why are you looking at me like that? Like, what is it? Yeah. And he said, nothing. And I said, no,
You've asked my name. You're looking angry at me.
And I said, you're looking at me like you hate me, you know, with utter contempt. What is it? And he said, oh, we disagree on a few things. And I said, OK, what? And eventually he just said, you stand with Nazis. And I then, you know, I didn't.
But it is laughable, isn't it? I mean, it's a horrific insult, but it is also laughable.
Well, I just said, I'm literally just wanting to buy a birthday card, which at that point the transaction had already happened. So I said, it's just not appropriate. Like, how
Did you ask on what basis does he think that you stand with Nazis?
Oh, no, he did mention Melbourne. So he did talk about... And I said, do you really think Nazis support women's rights? I
think we're just supposed to be breeding for the Nazis. That's just our job, to stay at home and breed.
Well, I've done my fair share. But I said, do you honestly think that they stood... I said, look. And he said, well, I'm Jewish. So that's why, you know, you must know how... why it offends me. And I said, well, look, what happened is I spoke in Melbourne, and because women are speaking, Antifa come up to protest against us speaking. They don't like you very much either.
Yeah.
And I said, so then because they come out, the horrible other men come out to protest them. So it's men having a go at other men.
You just
nothing
got caught
to do
in the
with
middle.
us. Yeah.
And he wouldn't accept that.
No.
How was it left?
By me.
Well, you've presumably you goose-stepped out.
I would
Nuremberg rally style.
I should have done a silly walk. No, I just really did lose it. And I said, you know, you absolutely disgust me that you would accuse me of that. Right. Like, without any foundation at all, you would just accuse me of that. You disgust me as I left and went and...
Annoyingly, with having already given them your money. Well, Waterstones said they're going to look into this, but we know Waterstones are pretty right-on-y, wokey. They were the like, oh, we won't let people in without a mask people, even when it was no longer required people. I mean, what is fascinating is that the throwing around of Hitler and Nazism these days, and we see this, you know, footage we've been playing all day of the protests, you know, against what Israel is doing in Gaza. These words are just thrown around willy-nilly all the time now, and it is an insult to to the victims of the Holocaust, of Hitler.
Yeah.
to throw that around as someone who simply says, I don't think that men can become women just by saying I'm a woman, given that that is not a controversial view to 95% of people in the world?
Yeah, but we are in crazy times, aren't we? Where I think that once you can propagate the lie that women have penises, all bets are off.
Yep.
And the foundation upon which this whole thing is built is just so false that it's a cult, and therefore you can't question any part of it.
Well, you have questioned part of
Yes.
it, and you've faced quite a lot of a backlash as a result of that. One of the things you've done, which I think is wonderful, is this, Stand Up for Women, these protests, where you just simply said to the right, I must come along to one of them, by the way, in Hyde Park. And I love a man who tried to shout me down. Good luck with that. I have a feeling I will end up getting in a fight, though. But you now want to set up a party, because we've got these sort of parties claiming to be parties for women, but actually these are parties that are fully signed up to the idea that any man can say he's a woman, then he's a woman.
Yeah.
You want to set up the party of women.
Yes. So the idea is that all the people that were supposed to represent women, all the large feminist organisations, all these large women's organisations, they basically just abandoned women in the first kind of incarnation of men invading women's spaces. So that's what they did. So then, in order to ensure that women do have a voice, I think we've just got to do it ourselves. And so that's what I've done.
So are you going to have some sort of look down the trousers test? How are we going to do this?
Well, as a political party, obviously, I can't be biased about who enters and who represents us. I can just say that knowing what a woman is will be absolutely fundamental to everything that we do. But I can't stop men.
And do you know what? The funny thing is, we all used to know that, didn't we? And we were just talking with Sam Armstrong a little bit earlier about Keir Starmer and his 99.9% of women don't have a penis. This according to the interviewer who did this interview, sort of, well, that kind of was the end of the matter. His issue about knowing what a woman is doesn't solve that at all, of course, because if 0.1% of women, I mean, there are what, 35 million women in this country, women and girls.
Yeah.
So 0.1. That's hundreds of thousands of women who've got penis. I don't know about you, I've been in a lot of changing rooms in, gyms, swimming pools, Top Shop, I've had a lot of friends. I've not met a single woman with a penis. Not one. Have you?
No, absolutely not. And that's, I mean, look, I think it comes down to all organisations got parasitically invaded by people that then prevent you from talking about the issue.
Yep.
So every conversation where women's rights are being talked about, there's been a man or a woman who is absolutely hell-bent on ensuring that men get included as women.
It's the women who scare me more, actually.
Yeah, well, they're the women that sit on these boards. So, for example, foster care, that's been totally co-opted by this ideology. A woman rang into a thing that I do called Turf Talk on my channel, and she said she couldn't be a foster carer because she had to say that she agreed with gender ideology. So she wanted to foster 4-year-olds, and she's not allowed.
Yeah.
She's not allowed. It's unbelievable where we are.
And again, we've got this big debate about whether or not, we actually sort of try to stop children from being basically pushed on this route to basically infertility, never ever being able to enjoy their sexuality at all, and being told, largely actually I would say young gay women being told there's something wrong with their body. Well, they're born in the wrong body and they need to change it, and cutting off their breasts and goodness knows what. It's absolutely terrifying. How big an issue do you think this is going to be at the next election, though? Because we're constantly told, oh, for goodness sake, do stop banging on about this stuff. No one cares. No one's interested. People are going to be voting on, the cost of living.
Yeah.
They're going to be voting whether or not, their mum is waiting for a hip operation on the NHS. That's what they're going to care about, whether they can afford to buy a house, not whether or not Keir Starmer thinks that women have a penis in their pants or not.
Well, I think to a degree that's true, that people will be voting on the fact that their mortgages have gone up and they can't afford to pay them. So I think people will vote on that. However, I also think that people will want politicians they can trust. And once somebody says that some woman has a penis, how can you trust them with anything? Like, really, how could I trust Keir Starmer to say anything that I could possibly believe when I know that that's not true?
And this is such a crucial thing, isn't it? I've said this time and again. He either believes genuinely, that a huge number of women do have penises, and that men can genuinely on a Wednesday afternoon say, I'm a woman, And they are a woman, not a trans woman, not a man living his life as if he were a woman, which he's perfectly entitled to do as long as he doesn't then try and invade women-only spaces because he's not a female, he's a man. God, I wish, wear what you want, do your hair what you want, call yourself Sheila, I don't care, live your best life, have a great time. But if he either genuinely believes that, in which case he's crazy. He's crazy. He doesn't understand basic biological reality or basic scientific fact, or in which case he should not be Prime Minister of this country.
Agree.
Or he doesn't believe it, but he's saying it anyway, which means he's lying. In which case he shouldn't be Prime Minister of this country.
Yeah, all of them. There's the Conservatives.
Right, they're all just as bad.
Well, the Conservatives have led this country for over a decade, and it's still absolutely riddled through schools.
Yeah.
Like if that dog, Bully Breed, Rishi Sunak came out and was very firm on it really quickly. If he wanted this stuff out of schools, it would already be out of schools.
You could literally, I don't understand, I mean, you have a daughter in school now, I don't understand why any outside group is being invited in that has not been vetted to educate our children about sexuality or identity or any of that stuff. It should be a crime in this country to tell children that you may be born in the wrong body. It's not a real... In the same way, I don't want my daughter going into a biology or a physics class being told that the Earth was created in 6 days.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're welcome to believe that, and you're welcome to educate people about that in their religious studies class, but you're not entitled to tell my child that as a matter of science.
No. I mean, one of my children's schools lists, if you're gay, why don't you watch Drag Race? And so I sent a nice little clip of one of the most awful things I've ever seen on that being shared about that show. But there's something really odd where, why would you as a teacher, so another school I went in and I said, no, you won't be inviting that group. You won't be inviting that outside lobby group in. Absolutely not. And she said, but we don't know how to teach. And I said, well, don't teach it then.
Yeah.
Like, do some research. Don't teach something that you fundamentally don't understand to impressionable children. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think most people who aren't, if you're not upset about this, you're just not aware of quite what's going on.
Yeah,
Look, I'm going to have to come to one of your Stand Up for Women events. You've been an absolute hero on all of this. You've taken a lot of grief, and I mean, frankly, I think you should get at the very least a formal apology from Waterstones and their employee. I think that employee needs to have some education on customer service.
Me too.
At the very start. Do you want them sacked?
No, absolutely not. I don't want to take away his
Your political
living.
views are totally irrelevant to you being a customer. That's the key thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And their political views are totally irrelevant. Stop telling us what your political views are. We don't care.
Totally.
Kellie-Jay Keen, absolute star. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.